We made it. Hi, everybody, and welcome to our last keynote of the day. We do have my closing after this, and then we have a special encore session later, but I am so excited. We are in for a treat with my friend, Susan Bratton, and I just want to give you a little bit of a background on how I know Susan. We met back in the early internet days on sharing some sessions at Search Engine Strategies and Ad Tech and all these different internet marketing conferences that were like so new and exciting at that time, and now everything's so like different. But that's how we originally met. And then fast forward, I'm like looking at Susan, watching her, what she's doing next, and I'm seeing like all of these, like she's talking about sex everywhere. I'm like, what has happened with Susan? And like, what is going on? And so, she's a brilliant woman. She has built so many different businesses and had so many amazing mentors and stories. But now today, Susan is specializing in sexual wellness and helping relationships, with sexual wellness. And she's doing amazing things and helping people and couples and relationships. So I want to just introduce you to Susan. And Susan, whatever I left out, please fill in the blanks. Thank you so much for being a female disruptor in sexual wellness. Take it away, Susan.
Thank you, Lisa. You look absolutely stunning today. Wowza, wowza, wowza. And I love that even through all of these decades, we're still doing things together. You carry your friends forward, no matter what your transition is. And I think that's a very important point I want to make. But today on this closing keynote, and thank you so much for having me, I really wanted to do two things. And the first was to talk about why your sexuality is important for you. Why would you even bother putting your attention on it? Because I want to be your cheerleader. I want to be the mom you needed to tell you to get it, girl. And the second thing that I want to do is I want to tell you some things about your body and why often we women end up having this experience where sex isn't quite as good as we think it should be. Like, I think there might be people having way better sex than I am. Why is that? Is it real? Can I trust it? And I'm here to tell you that, number one, your sexuality is the other side of the same coin as your personal growth. That your sexuality is a part of your passion for life, your vitality, your lust for life, your creativity. And when it's done well, it can ground you. It can reset your nervous system. It can make you feel desirable. It can give you a vascular explosion of energy that keeps you young and healthy. And it can make you look younger. There was a study that was done with 3,800 respondents. They were told to look at a series of photos of people between the ages of 18 and 80 and to guess their age. And it turns out that of all the photos that they looked at, the people that had intimacy three times a week looked 10 years younger than their cohorts. Literally, for me, that's enough of a reason to have intimacy 3 times a week. Like, okay, that's enough said. Can it make my skin less saggy? I'll take it. The problem is that so much gets in our way, especially as busy women. And one of the things that I think makes having satisfying intimacy so difficult for us is that I believe that we've been under what I call the patriarchal view of our sexuality. And, we've been controlled through our sexuality for far too long. And younger women are coming out and becoming much more emancipated. But still, we're informed by the patriarchal view of sex. And there is a difference between the way mama wants to have it and the way daddy wants to have it. The only thing is that if mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. And we all know that. And ultimately, our male-bodied partners do want to give us what we want. They know deep in the core of themselves that if you're not satisfied, you're not going to be asked back into the palace. And they want to do the right thing. So this is not about saying that men are wrong or that it's bash the patriarchy. What I really want to do is I want to elevate what intimate intimacy looks like if you could have the kind of intimacy that a woman needs to have. And it really comes down to some pretty fundamental things. The very first one is that the male body is testosterone dominant and the female body is estrogen dominant. And so as a man, he wakes up in the morning with morning wood and he's had some erections at the nighttime if he's healthy, and he's interested in masturbating because he's biologically wired to keep his sperm topped off so that he's ready when we are, because we're on this 28-day cycle and we go through 5 days of estrus. And even our desire changes in that 28 days after menopause, very similarly to the way it did before menopause. So we're women who run with the moon. And we want different things every day and every moment, where our male-bodied partners are much more steady state. They are pretty happy with the same things. They could do the same things much more often than we. We actually need more variety and novelty, but we also need much more security, because estrogen is a worrywart of a molecule. It's the thing that makes us a little more nervous, worried about our safety. We are the prey, not the predator. And it also makes us judgy. That's why we make such good distinctions about things. It helps us keep our eye on a million things. We're massive multitaskers, where our male counterparts are full steam ahead, single focused. And I know you experience these things in business. You're in a meeting with men and you're like, why are they so territorial? Why is there a pecking order? What is all this, like land grab? Why can't we all just work together as a team to raise the greater good? It's because testosterone wants to fight for its dominance all the time. And what's good about it is that it gives them rose-colored goggles, so they see us as prettier than we see ourselves. We tend to judge ourselves more harshly. We have body image issues from being judgmental, and we have difficulty getting out of our head and into our body. Add to that the fact that there's this thing called hemodynamics, which is blood flow. And blood flow is the most important thing for you for your sexual satisfaction. And you can't get good blood flow to your genitals if you're nervous or worried, if you don't feel safe. And if your partner is trying to push your buttons and spin your dials and turn you on before you're relaxed and in your body and out of your head, then you miss the foundation of arousal. You miss this idea that, first you just have to relax a little before you can even begin to climb the arousal ladder. Not only that, but because most of our partners are male-bodied partners and they have the benefit of testosterone and fast-acting blood flow, they get the blood flow into their genitals so in that straight arrow shot that they have so quickly, where we're more like English muffins, where the butter has to melt into all the nooks and crannies. The blood has to flow into the vulvar structures. And that means that where they're ready to go in 2 minutes and they're already ahead of us with more testosterone, they're focused, they could have sex anywhere, the temperature doesn't bother them, it's not too bright for them, they're just boom, let's make it happen. We are more sensitive to everything around us. We need to feel safe and secure. We have to relax first to let the blood begin to flow. And it takes us 20 minutes to get where they get in 2 minutes, or they're already there. It doesn't even take them 2 minutes. And so what ends up happening is that we're working on the timetable of the male body in a female body. So when our partner says, hey, baby, do you want to have sex? We're like, no, Why would I want to have sex? Like, I've been in the middle of thinking about 10,000 things. I haven't even taken off my shoes. My feet hurt. I need a glass of Chardonnay. Are you kidding me? No, I don't want sex. That's the reason why you aren't ready, because you haven't gotten the things that you've needed to be where he already is. And that's really what I want to talk to you about, is that just as you're honoring who you really are, the skills and talents that you have as the woman that you are, when you're in business, you're using the skills and talents you have as a female to be a disruptor in business. And now I want you to take those things that are assets, are female assets, and I want you to disrupt your bedroom. That's what I want you to do. But you can't do that if you think, oh, I'm slow. I'm never turned on. My libido is low. I'm really not the kind of person who can have orgasms. I'm not the kind of person who can have orgasms from intercourse. It's just me. Don't worry about it. I'll still make love with you. I'll give you what you want, even though I'm not getting enough for it, or I've convinced myself that I'm just happy being close to you when we make love, and I don't need to have an orgasm. And I want you to stop being such a good girl. I want you to be the badass disruptor that you were born to be, and I want you to bring it into the bedroom. And here's what I want you to do. I want you to understand that, yes, in fact, all sex is learned skills. That your body and your male body partner, if you have one, that his body too is capable of 20 kinds of orgasms. That you can have orgasms from intercourse. That there are so many pathways to pleasure, and that they are all learned skills, and that your sex life and your personal growth are two sides of the same coin, as I said, that you have your whole life long to get better and better and better in bed. So I want to show you a couple of pictures, because I want you to have the mindset that you might be okay in the bedroom right now, or you might feel like you're not getting what you want, or you might feel like you're perfectly satisfied. But I want to let you know that sex, if it were a brand, would have a tagline. And that tagline would be sex. There's always something more. Sex is the thing that can keep giving you a more youthful outlook, more energy, more confidence, more calmness. And so instead of feeling like you'll take what you can get, or it's good enough, I want you to begin to demand the things that your body needs to achieve your orgasmic potential. I love to talk about orgasmic potential because I call myself an orgasmonaut. I imagine myself in a silver spacesuit, soaring to the far outer reaches of space of orgasmic ecstasy, and coming back and giving you a map to get there too, to have all the pleasure that's possible in your body, and to live the life of a turned on woman. A turned on woman is a switched on woman, is a confident woman, is a woman who embraces her zest, her vitality, and her sexuality. But you can't do that if you think you're willing to settle, or you're broken, or it's just not important, because it is important. So let me show you a few things. The very first thing that I want to show you is what's under the hood of your vulva. So this is your vulva. And I know you kind of know what it looks like, but you may not be looking at it very often. And I want you to start really embracing your yoni. That's a word I want you to learn. Yoni is a tantric lovemaking word for your female genitals. Y-O-N-I, like my little yoni. And the lingam is the male-bodied equipment. And in your yoni, that's everything, all the skin on the outside and everything underneath and inside. I want you to think about your body, not just, and your sexual pleasure, not just as It's all at the tip of my clitoris. There's 10,000, by the way, nerve endings. They've now documented it. It's not 8,000. That was apparently a pig. They did some studies and now we thought we had 8. We've got 10. We just got 2 more thousand nerve endings. Let's use them. We've got the 10,000 nerve endings in the tip of our clitoris, but there's so much more. And that's what I want to show you. I want to show you your buried treasure and how it works. Because once you imagine it and see it, you can have it. Like any goal, you can't get there without a plan. So I'm going to leave you with a gift called the Sex Life Bucket List, because I'm expanding your thinking and your mindset about what your sexual possibility is today. It's at sexlifebucketlist.com. And it will have access to all this information, but it will also have a number of different things you can do. And I'll leave you with that. But let's first talk about what you have here in this buried treasure. You have your mons, your outer labia, where the pubic hair maybe used to be now. You have your inner labia, which make your clitoral hood and come down to the bottom to your fourchette. You have the opening, which is called your vestibule, and what's inside there, that's the vestibule. You have the clitoral tip, the clitoral shaft goes up and in your body. And then you have the vaginal opening and you have the urethral exit. That's where your urine comes out, your urethral exit. That's also what I call G-spot number 2. This opening to your vagina is called your introital sphincter. And it's a round muscle like your iris. It opens and closes. Then you have your perineal area and your anus. So all of this is called the vulva, everything on the outside. But what I'm particularly interested in letting you know is that just because you think this is where the seat of pleasure is, it's only the beginning. It's just a part of the seat of pleasure. This whole area can be activated to send pleasure signals to your brain. And when you have enough relaxation and safety and stimulation, you're able to get all of this tissue aroused and plump and innervated and sensated, and it sends more signals to your brain when it's engorged or filled with blood, which you need time to make happen. Now I'm going to peel away the skin and I'm going to show you that your clitoris is actually part of a giant erectile tissue system. So before I do, I want you to visualize this banana. Okay, visualize it as a penis, not very hard. Half of a male-bodied partner's penis sticks out of his body and half goes in and down toward his testicles. So all of this is erectile tissue. Now, if I peel the skin of this banana off and the fruit is left, that's what his erectile tissue looks like. A big bunch of spongy tissue inside this banana. If I take that spongy tissue and I put it inside your vulva, it is the same amount of erectile tissue. And this is the thing that is lost on us, that is the single most important thing to sexual satisfaction, is that when I peel away your vulva and show you what's underneath, this is your erectile tissue. It's literally completely surrounding your vagina. There are 3 erectile tissue systems in your body. Well, there's more than that. I'm saying specifically in your vulva or your yoni, there are 3. There's the clitoral system, the urethral system, and the perineal system. And that's why you're the English muffin, because you have all these nooks and crannies that the blood must flow into, which is why relaxation before sensation is so important for you. Now, this is the clitoral tip or the glans. That's got the 10,000 nerve endings, but all of this is almost as orgasmic, just as if intercourse is one of the most delicious, if not the most delicious part of heterosexual sexual experience, but oral pleasuring, kissing, breast play, full body touch, words of adoration, words of encouragement are 99.999% almost as good. And that's because we need all of those things to get up that arousal ladder. Our ladder is steep and goes on and on and on, but not without the relaxation for the firmament of our growing into our arousal. We've got clitoral shaft, arms, legs. That's the clitoris. If I took your clitoris out of your body and put it in your hand, it would cover up your palm. There's that much tissue in your clitoris. So if you've been thinking about it as this tiny little nub, now think about that as just the tip of the iceberg, and that you want to spend the rest of your life activating all of this tissue. In addition to the clitoral structure, you have the urethral structure, which is not, it's called the G spot, but it's not a spot. It's actually a long tube. It's the spongy tissue that surrounds your urethral canal. And that's this little rosebud that goes up inside along the top of your vagina up to your bladder. And that swells with pleasure. I'll show you another picture of it so you can see a little bit more about what it looks like. Here's a close-up diagram of it. This is where the urine comes out. Just as your male-bodied partner ejaculates and urinates out of his penis, you also do the same. All women can ejaculate, all women urinate, and this is the canal out of which it comes. It comes from your blood plasma recruited down into these little green things called Skene's glands. You have a contraction and it comes out. This erectile tissue loves to be touched, both inside the vagina, up on the roof of the vagina, as well as outside on the vestibule of the vagina, of the opening above the vagina. So then you have, so there's your G spot, but it's not a spot. And it goes, you can get to it inside or you can get to it outside in the vestibule. And then you have a perineal sponge between the vagina and the rectum. So if you look at your vagina now and you think to yourself, oh my gosh, this entire thing is surrounded. My vagina is surrounded. It's hugged. It's a golden bracelet of erectile tissue. And maybe the reason why she can have an orgasm from intercourse, but I haven't yet, is because I didn't realize I need to slow down and get the stimulation I need to get all of that erectile tissue full of blood. Your vaginal lubrication does not come from the vagina. It also comes from the blood being recruited to your pelvic bowl and the plasma seeping through your vaginal mucosal lining to wet the lining. So if you're stressed out, if you're dehydrated, if you have low nitric oxide, if you haven't been eating leafy green vegetables, if you're using antibacterial mouthwash, if you're using fluoride toothpaste, if you're using acid blockers and proton pump inhibitors, your nitric oxide is so low that it's depressing your lubrication. It's not just your hormones, it's your blood flow. So I think that's a very important part of what women don't understand, and our partners don't understand. We don't understand that. We're just very slow to get turned on. That's why often you'll have intercourse with a partner. You didn't really want to, you kind of did it. And at the end you were like, oh, okay, now I'm glad I did it, because you finally got warmed up. So if I can give you really any piece of advice, it's slow down, have your partners slow down. Don't fake anything. Allow yourself to learn and notice when your body is starting to feel good, that the blood flow is coming, and spend more time kissing, spend more time with breast play, spend more time with vulva massage or yoni massage and oral pleasuring. Use your tools and toys in your solo pleasuring practice. Get different kinds of toys that activate different areas of your vulva. Get some things that give you clitoral stimulation, vaginal stimulation, G-spot stimulation, and try and bring as much blood flow as you can. Slow down, ask for what you need, realize that every day you're very different than you were the last time you made love, and that you need holding and kissing and full body touch and loving and hair strokes and foot rubs and calm, loving connection so that you can live into your orgasmic capacity. once you begin to stand for yourself, once you begin to go at the pace that your body wants, rather than what you think you should be doing, you're going to have some incredible experiences. You're going to be able to awaken new neural pathways. Activating and stimulating all that tissue is going to increase the intensity of your pleasure. And when you learn about your body and you learn good techniques, then you can also learn good communication skills. And then when you can feel confident there's nothing wrong with you, you don't have a low libido, you've just been trying to have sex on a man's timeline, and that your timeline is the matriarchal timeline, is the timeline for lovemaking. That's not wrong, you're not wrong, that your body is right and she knows what she's doing. When you begin to, it's not even intuition, it's really listening to your body. She's talking to you all the time. She's telling you what she wants. And when you tune into her and you slow down and you honor her, you start to have fantastic sex. And when you have great sex, you begin to become more orgasmic. And you can become more orgasmic your whole life long. And that can fuel your passion, your creativity, and your youthful vigor. And those are so important. So what I want to leave you with now, we have about 3 minutes left, is I want you to get out a pencil and paper, and I want you to write down a URL or text it to yourself or put it on your phone or your computer, whatever you need to do. I want you to go grab something called the Sex Life Bucket List. It's at sexlifebucketlist.com. And what I give you is a downloadable PDF and a 40-minute video where I guide you through 48 different erotic play dates. You get this really fun PDF. It's 8 pages, and it is basically a personalized sex life plan where I've come up with 48 different things that you can do and learn. Because if you don't, you've got a lot of goals for business, you know where you're going, you've got your plans for the year and your plans for 5 years and your plans for 10 years and all of these things. But if you don't have a sex life bucket list, you're not working on incrementing your knowledge. And because it gives you so much, it's worth putting your attention and intention on having great sex. And what I love about the personalized sex life plan is that I give you these 48 things and the video where I walk you through what they are, because there's going to be some where you're like, wow, I never even heard of that. That sounds really, really fun. And you rate them A, B, or C. A is, oh, that's going on my bucket list for sure. B is, well, I wouldn't put it on my bucket list, but if my partner wanted to do it, I'd totally do it with them. And C is, it's not for me right now. Because as you evolve, mature, and get more masterful as a lover, you're going to find the things you used to look at and think were dumb are now really turn-ons. That's your personal sexual evolution. That's your sexual growth. And you'll get better and better over the years in bed with more satisfaction by having a goal that you can go for. So there you go. I'm Susan Bratton. You can follow me on Instagram at Susan Bratton, and I answer all my DMs. So if you have any questions, you can reply to an email of mine or slide into my DMs and I will be there for you. Lisa, thank you so much for having me.
Susan, thank you for being a female disruptor. And I think we should rename this session, She Means Business in the Bedroom.
I love that.
Yes, yes. So maybe that's your next book or blog.
That's so cute.
Thank you. So we are on to our next session. I appreciate you. We're going to put the link to what you mentioned in your speaker credentials so that anyone can access it. They didn't have to write it down, and catch up with you on the next Female Disruptors.
See you on the other side.